What's up, guys? This is Tybo, Durham CEO. This is 12th day of the 100-day challenge. Hitting 2 videos out today. Not sure why. I just got kind of an inspiration to try to launch this, to do this video. It's been something that I've talked about all the time, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. So it's what I actually learned from multiple mentors of mine. It's not just some BS I'm pulling out of my freaking ass. So yeah, I'll get started. So I see everybody on Facebook so I'm 23, right? So I see people that are grades above me, a couple grades above me, a couple grades below me. They're buying houses, right? And it's so funny. One of my good friends, I talked to him today about this. He was a mortgage loan guy, a mortgage broker. And before he was all about, yeah, man, like you got to buy a house. Buying a house is a great investment. This. Buying a house is amazing, right? So if you really listen to anybody, there's really an interesting piece of advice that coming from people that want to make money off you, for one, or they're not wealthy. So what I've learned is that entrepreneurs or people that have money don't go and buy houses when they're young. Simple as that. The best, I've been told, and I've learned this firsthand, the best investment is yourself. So put your money into yourself, learn and grow as a person to become financially free, or just be retired at whatever age you want, or put it in the market, the stock market, or any investment that can give you more money than a house will. I'll talk to you in a second about that. It's really interesting. I've done my research, and my mentors told me this, and they helped me out with this research, and it's insane. But yeah, those are the two things you should do with your money while you're young, because this is the time you can be financially risky. You can be very risky with your money. I know for me, I'm taking big shots, right? I just dropped $30,000 on a product. I'm dropping another 20 grand in a product next month. So I'm doing big moves, and that doesn't bother me right now. I'm living with little to no expenses for this sure reason is to make these big shots and become financially free in the future. But let's get back to the houses, right? So houses and cars. We'll go with houses for now. We'll go to cars in a second. So what I see is people going, oh yeah, houses are a great investment. This. Oh, I'm buying my first house. Cool. If that's what you want to do. But these people have bigger goals, or they're mortgage brokers, or they're realtors, or they're your parents that are middle class that keep telling you these things that you should buy a house when you're young. I'll hit you with some numbers. In the last 100 years, down a decimal point, in the last 100 years, inflation has been 3.2%. Right? So in the last 100 years, inflation, so this is a 100-year average, right, which is very, very accurate, and it's going to be, in the next 30 years of your mortgage, it's going to be around that, if not more, right? So in 100 years, it's been 3.2% interest on a dollar, right? So your dollar is worth less and less each day, 3.2% a year, right? And houses in the past 100 years have gone up 3.11%. So in theory and practicality, you're actually losing 0.08% each year on a house. That's if you let's say you put $500,000 down in a house. In that 30 years, let's say you sell in 30 years, realistically, you'll have less money than what that $500,000 was worth that day. So if it's worth $1 million at that time, it's going to be less than the inflation price. So your house is going to be worth less than the inflation price, which is insane, right? So it's this great investment. You can put money into houses, and you're getting smacked with inflation that's more than the house is increasing over the past 100 years. These are 100-year averages, right? So they're very accurate, right? So we go for long average. This isn't just the inflation isn't the huge spike or huge drop of the '07 crash or the '07 thing. This is over 100 years, so it's very, very steady, and we see the trends, right? So that's that. That's if you put cash down on a house. That's if you put that $500,000 that you got, you put it down on a house and you paid it in complete full. You didn't take a loan out, you didn't take that mortgage out, you didn't borrow it from anybody else. You put it down. So let's talk about borrowing it right now. So as of today, we're roughly around 4% for a 30-year mortgage. So 4%, that's not bad at all, right? So you can borrow that $500,000 for 4% of the total cost. But this is where the fun part is happening. So you're taking that 4%. So at $500,000 over 30 years, it's a little over. Don't quote me on the exact number, but it's a little over $1 million, right? So in that 30 years, you're paying over $1 million for a house over that 30 years. So today, 2017, your house is worth $500,000. So at the end of that, with interest And that's not even getting to like the insurance you got to pay if you don't have enough money to put down. But let's just say that just the interest and the principal, what you're paying on the house. So the money that actually is paying on the house, not you're paying the bank for the money, that will be over $1 million, right? So you so in the house climb at 3.11%, the house climb, you're actually losing money just on interest alone. So just on the interest you're paying, you're actually losing money on the house in the end, right? That's if we go with the 100-year span and the mortgage rate you get today. You're locked in that mortgage rate, so there's not a 100-year span of it. It's just today's mortgage rate. Could go up, could go down, whatever. It's probably going to go up because depending on the economy, it's probably going to go up. That's what we think. So today, there's a 4% mortgage on a house, and you're actually paying over $1 million for the house that will be worth $1 million at the end of that mortgage. So that's not taking in the inflation, right? So that inflation is insane. So you're actually losing money. So so how can I explain this so people understand it? So you're borrowing money. So you're losing money then. So you're paying somebody to borrow their money. So at the end of the years, you're paying the exact same price of the house is going to be, right? So you're paying that $1 million, and the house is going to be worth $1 million. So realistically, you're not making any money. It's an investment. It's not an investment. Well, it could be called an investment, but you're actually not making any money on it. It's staying the same. At the end of that 30 years, you're making no money if you go for the whole 30 years. Sure, you can if you sell at a high price. Yeah, okay, that's simple. But most people will hold that or buy another house, and they'll hold it for that 30 years. For that 30 years. And that's the kicker, right? So the next question is, or the next thing people say, oh, I can rent it out. So let me give you a scenario. So one of my buddies, he bought a house, right? No knock on him, like, good for you, brother. But this is what happened. His AC and his roof went out, right? That's just something that's going to happen. Over the 30 years, your roof's going to go out, your AC's going to blow. It cost him $14,000, right? So that money he's going to make renting his house out, it's gone. Then that's not even the worst. But there's gonna be always problems here, problems there. And if you put into it the time you spend on a house, let's say you spend 5 hours a week. Over that 30 years, let's say you're only making $35 an hour, which you should be making more in the future. If you buy a $500,000 house, you should be making a lot more than $35 an hour. But $35 an hour over the 30 years of that your life for your house, you're putting in time worth, so that 5 hours a week at $35 an hour over that 30 years is roughly $280,000. The number's a bit off, skewed for a couple $1,000s, but you get the point, right? So you're paying on a house, interest on a house. You're actually not making any money because inflation's higher than the actual 100 years of the house, and you're paying debt and interest on the house. So those are two things up front that are hitting you pretty hard. Both of them equal. One of those alone equals out to the whole value of the house at the end of the time, right? So you say, okay, well, I'm going to get somebody to pay my house off for me. They're me renters, whatnot. So we'll take into account you're paying, first off, for things that happen at that house. So you have to pay and keep your renters happy. So if AC blows, the roof goes out, you have anything that happens to the house, you got to pay for that, right? And it's the time that you have to spend at the house fixing it, keeping it maintained. And if not your time, you're paying somebody more time. You're paying somebody for their time, right, to do the house, right? So you're just getting smacked with these things over and over and over. And even if somebody pays that money off at the end, so even if, again, let's just talk about this. So even at the end of that 30 years you had the house, you had somebody renting it from you the whole time. As we discussed before, the inflation alone will be more than the house worth. So you're having people pay for this house, you're paying the interest off, and even if you weren't paying the interest off, inflation is going to hit you, right? So sure, you're paying off the inflation, or you're paying off the interest each month, even if it's completely paid off, and that's not even going into you have to have a room. So most people, if you have a room in the house or 2 rooms or whatever you have in the room, you're actually still going to be paying that monthly. You're still going to be paying for the house, your rent, right? But you have to put time into it. So it's just a huge slew of problems. Unless the one good thing about owning a house, the one good thing about having a mortgage on it is that mortgage is tax deductible, right? Mortgage is tax deductible, but at the same time, if you're taking the income from from renters, that's actually income on a house, right? So it averages out. Sure, you can say that you can always not claim that, right? You can do that, but then it's not a business and you're not making money off it, so you can't write off the repairs in the house. It's just a whole slew of problems that if you're in your 20s and you're not making a huge amount of cash, or you have a huge cash bank that's sitting and growing, compounding interests for yourself, not compounding interest for a bank that's compounding interest. Don't buy a house. Simple as that. That's what That's what people that are worth millions of dollars say to me all the time. Unless you're in your 30s and you have a large sum of cash that you can that's making the house payments for you, and you can leverage that cash. We'll talk about a whole different story, whole different thing. Unless you're taking that cash and leveraging it, do not buy a house. 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 It is a stupid investment. Rent, save some time, save some effort. That's coming from millionaires and VCs and just the wealthy, right? When you hear people that say, "Oh, these houses are a great investment," it's either people trying to sell you shit, mortgages, real estate agents. Oh, Ryan. Oh, let's get in this. When you sell your house, right? So you make nothing. Let's say you even out the house. So inflation, you make nothing, right? You don't have interest on it. But at the end of that 30 years, you have to pay a realtor 7%. Realtors probably gone in the future due to job loss, whatnot. We'll get into a different story. But you have to pay a realtor 5 to 7%, or even less. It depends how good the realtor they are. Excuse me. To sell that house for you guys. That's what's insane. Like, you're making no money because of inflation, but then you have a realtor come in and sell the house for you, and then you take a loss. You get a net loss. That's how it's gonna be, unless you have massive amount of cash that you can leverage. You see rich people. What you do see with rich people buying real estate is because they really have nowhere else to put their money. At steady income, right? So they buy these huge complexes. This is what, if you want to buy houses, or if you want to make money on a house, this is what you should. This is what I've been told, and this is what I'll personally be doing in the future. You got to buy a house that is broken down, or that you can fix up and make a profit off it, right? So you can make a profit off it, even if you borrow money from it, you can still make a profit, and you can live in it for 2 years and then not pay tax on it, right? That's what you should do. Don't buy a house somebody else remodeled and they're making the money off it. You need to actually use your money smart. Use your money smartly. Do not go and just blow it on a house when you're 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, unless you have a large cash bank. Simple as that. That's what I've been told. That's what it's sensible, because if you look at the numbers, that's exactly what it is, right? And the only people pitching this shit is middle class people, or people trying to sell you shit. That's simple on buying a house, and if you should or shouldn't. We'll get into cars right now. Cars are even worse than houses. You're gonna take a loss almost always. There's some exceptions. Guys. There's always exceptions. But there's some exceptions, as in if you buy a car that's really valuable that can go up in price. It doesn't happen always, but you gotta have a keen eye for it. Old school cars do that well, and supercars, if they're the right supercars. Some supercars you take a huge loss on. Awful, awful loss. Like thousands and thousands of dollars. But you find the right one, and take the appreciation curve and go up. But normally, your normal day-to-day cars that are mass produced, you will always take a loss on it. And if you take a loan, you're taking a loss, and you're paying interest. You're getting smacked twice for a depreciating asset. You're paying to look cool. You're paying to compete with the Johnsons. You're just. That's a lot of people are does not understand. Unless you want to keep with the Joneses and you have a large cash bank, do not buy something that much money. Sure, if you're pulling in $1 million a year, then you go buy the Ferrari. What do you fucking do, right? But if you're not doing that, stay humble. Don't buy anything fucking huge, flashy. Don't go and blow your money, because that money will be it's compounding, right? If you put in the stock market at 7.9%, that's over the past 100 years, that's what it's gone at. You'll be a multi-millionaire with the money you saved by not buying a house when you're in your 20s. Just invest it. Just invest in yourself or the stock market or something you get good gains off of. Just please. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I really don't give a fuck what you do with money. But if you want to become financially successful and become a millionaire, please invest it in something that actually will make you money. Don't just blow it on random shit. Because this is a time where we gotta invest. This is the time where you have to fucking invest, guys. Like, personally, I am investing in myself. If I wasn't investing in myself, I would invest in the stock market. Look at Warren Buffett. You can put it in a normal account. A normal account, and it gets better returns than a lot of banks. Just follow Warren Buffett, guys. It's a long road. It's not short. Don't go risky with penny stocks unless you know what the fuck you're doing. Personally, I don't know what I'm doing with that kind of stuff, so I wouldn't say buy it, and I wouldn't say that you shouldn't buy unless you know what you're doing. Again, invest in yourself. If you want to go into trading, invest in yourself. Learn it. Don't just blow money. Don't just blow money in random shit because you can, or you have it today, because you won't have the money in the future. That's what I'm really learning. That's what I'm trying to preach to everybody that is in their 20s, in their 30s, that needs cash. Invest it, make it grow, and become financially successful in the future. It's not all today. Don't be rushing it. Don't be rushing. I know personally, like sometimes I don't think I'm making enough, right? But that's just me because I don't think I'll ever make enough. That's just who I am. It'll never be enough for me. But hey, I found out today. Not trying to like. No one's gonna fucking watch this anyway. But I found out today that I'm in the 1% tax bracket for my age. Pretty cool, actually. Very cool. I'm trying to get the 1% tax bracket for the world. The 0.1% tax bracket for the world. That's the next goal. In 2018. But again, we'll keep trying, keep shooting, keep making those shots, keep investing in yourself. And you're learning throughout the road. I know personally, I've learned a lot. Now I can take a product from nothing to something in a matter of a year. It won't take me 6 years anymore because I invested in myself when I was young, right? That will turn to be more of a dividend than anything else in my entire life. That's what I'm trying to get at, guys. Don't just go spend on a house because you want to look cool. Don't go spend it on a car because you want to look fucking cool. Invest your money wisely. Go from there. I'll have one of my mentors on to tell me all this shit. He's a multi-millionaire. He'll teach you guys what to do with your money as well. He's into stocks. That's his thing. So we'll give you guys that. I hope this is helpful for somebody if anybody watches this in the future. Give me a like, give me a subscribe if you do watch this. I'll catch you guys later. This is Ty Blunt.